I'm back. I'm back. Okay. I'm going to touch the lamp. I think my theory about chat being, or chat's here. Chat. I think my theory about the plugins. I'm not doing this to ruin people's streaks. It's just a disaster. Okay, but we're back live. We're back live. We're back. Everything's okay. Ooh. We went into, I don't know when it died. I reached up, I touched the camera. I think the USB camera is faulty. And when I turned the, like, that's why, we might be time to buy a new camera. I have had this camera since mid-2020. Oh. Okay. We went in and we spoke to this guy, Harbinger Bodman. And he said, "Out with you. I already told you." And then he stops. He's sorry. I thought you were those ruffians. Looks like something's beaten us here.
How may I help you?
What happened here?
I never saw their faces. Strange hooded men asking about those ruins. Cleoban Relag. Most of the brigands who come through here asking about the ruins are looking for a few ancient trinkets. But these people knew the name, and they were in a hurry. They wanted to know where Cleoban Relag was. I tried to keep it from them, but I couldn't hold out forever. I don't know what they were up to, but it can't be good.
That sounds like the leaded key, doesn't it? Is there something else I can help you with? Can you tell me where to find the ruins?
The Fathen tribe that guards the ruins will kill anyone who trespasses there. And they'll retaliate against us, too, if history is any indication. We've had too many fortune seekers stir up trouble of late. If I'm to tell you, I'll need to know your reason for wanting to go.
A dangerous plot is unfolding there. I've got to stop it.
If that's the case, then we may already have trouble headed our way. I'll have to take you at your word. You'll find Cleoban Relag here.
He gives us a map.
Whatever trouble you find there, please end it quietly and try to stay out of the ruins.
Tell me more about Direford. Folk here tend to keep to themselves. Just tell them you're a shitster, it will be the truth. That's it. That's it. I'm so, like, all the raiders are gone now. I don't mean it like that, but the did the crash kill the bot as well?
Scammed again.
We held, yeah, no, the raiders are gone. Sorry about that, raiders. I guess we had 28 people for a good while. Like, I'm not obsessed with the numbers. I don't mean it like that. I'm just like, the more the merrier. It was a real bad time for it to happen. where I was just like, people here tend to keep themselves to themselves. They're suspicious of travelers, brigands, and refugees moving through the area. Who can blame them? There's the Temple of Berath. How can you tell me about the god Berath? Berath is the most universal of all the gods. It oversees portals. It cycles of all kinds, even life and death. Under Berath, an ending is merely a passage to another beginning. Berath has many representations across time and cultures. Around the Deerwood, they'll commonly see it depicted as a pallid knight or the usher. The Gul'vans, however, know it as between Bwen en e Anku and Anku i Bwen. Oh yeah, we've spoken about this before. Who is the usher? We haven't heard of the usher. Kith have written stories. I'm 100% obsessed with the numbers, Jimmy. That's it. We just need 9 more followers. I didn't even thank the people who followed. We just need 9 more followers to break 400, and then we only need 600 more followers to break 1,000. Sometimes he's folk, sometimes he's dwarf, sometimes he's merely a walking skeleton. He never speaks, but he guides. Now he's a he. He's way to the next life. He also creates circumstances for wayward to stumble into their own graves. What about the Pallid Knight? She is one of the youngest. Okay, so it appears as many things. One of the youngest manifestations, but a familiar one nonetheless. Stories describe her as being a gaunt knight in black armor with black eyes. How can you tell the knight is gaunt if they're in full armor? Black hair and milk-pale skin. She demands an impossible toll from travelers who have tarried too long on her lord's road. Some challenge her only to slay themselves in the process. And I've never heard of the one that we definitely have heard of, Life in Death and Death in Life. You see them as 2 skeletal figures, one male and one female. It's quite tricky to identify male and female skeletons. I mean, pelvis, the hole at the back of the skull, the chest frame, but the bulkiness, I don't know. Explorers have found them carved opposite one another in doorways, but if I know no particular legends that speak of them. Okay. Of course, Bereth was once more widely worshipped in the area, but is a silent god. These days, people find themselves in need of clearer answers. Farewell.
Hey.
Okay, we learned something.
A blade in the dark.
Is there anything hidden in here? Okay. Obsessed with the numbers. It's tricky enough to do, yeah.
You must have seen some amazing sights on your way north.
Sure. Pirate cities floating in the archipelago. The mountain halls of these northern dwarves. Plenty.
I haven't been further south than the Deerwood myself. Maybe I'll come back after I've convinced the Ranga Nui and see all those things for myself.
I hope you do.
Oh. Okay. Can we get to the mill? The mill. A word, traveler. I only require a moment.
Well met, friend.
House Harond Guard. The guard gives you an appraising eye. You've recently come to Deerford, I take it. I do not suppose that you saw a young elven noblewoman on the road. I am stuck in this wretched place with the rest of my unit until we find her. Who is she? Lord Aelius. She is the daughter of Lord Nestor, and she has gone missing. Perhaps you could go speak with the Lord at the inn. He will be grateful of any assistance. It could be the villagers opened up to you more than they have to us. Okay.
Hey.
Is the inn? No, it's the mill. We gotta steal grain from the mill. That's one of our other missions. Oh, that's an interesting tidbit here. Hold on. In conversations, your main character does the talking, but companions may sometimes interject their opinions and ideas. In scripted interactions, more members of the parties are able to participate. We also picked up some bestiary stuff earlier when we fought the ogres. Ogres. Ogres, we've defeated 15 ogres. They're wilders. They're level 6. They do 40 to 60 crush damage. They're resistant to freeze, but not to corrode. They can do a battering sweep. Ogres are large, thick-skinned creatures standing between 10 and 12 feet tall. They're heavily muscled, typically attired in furs, skins of their prey. Clubs and axes and maces and bone and wood are their preferred weapons. Ogres are as intelligent. Okay, this is interesting. Ogres are as intelligent, often more so than civilized races, but their overwhelming hostility towards their own species keeps their numbers low. Despite their natural intelligence, their volatile temperaments have historically prevented them from concentrating long enough to create anything of significant cultural value. Most live semi-nomadic, secluded lives in the wilderness, where they are less likely to encounter others. The only time they reliably come together is during the mating season, which often does almost as much to reduce their numbers as it does to replenish them. Ogres with a more peaceful streak take particular pains to avoid contact. On the rare occasion that ogres are found working together, they are always operating under the direction of an ogre matron. Matrons are even larger than male ogres, but tend to be less aggressive towards their own kind. Where ogres have banded together, they are often represented an insurmountable threat to other kith. The ogre druids are just level 8 ogres. They also have a bunch of abilities. They can do Moonwell, they can do Calling the World's Maw, they can do Plague of Insects, Blizzards, Talons, Stag's Horn, Woodskin, Tanglefoot, and Sunbeam. We don't know what they do. And then there's the Matron. We don't know a lot about the Matrons except they're one level higher and we've only defeated one of them. Might 18, Constitution 22. So their reflex is their weakest defense. Okay, and we haven't made any notes. And I haven't crashed again? Okay. What a night.
Hey.
There's nothing to steal here. Oh, there's loads to steal. Villagers. Have you been to Defiance Bay? I hear there's no Hollowborn there. Can't remember the last time we had a healthy birth in the village. The mill slowly grinds away through. Okay, so I thought we could get grain here for the town that's starved of grain, but any weapon that has listed damage type slide will do whichever is best. Okay. Alright. We can head for the inn, and there's the grieving mother. So we already know where we have to go for the mission. That seems awkward. House guard, you must have seen something. Not many new faces. Okay. Its pelvis is all the way down, Hidone. Its pelvis is all the way down. Sid. Who's Sid? Eorn? Villager, 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 villager. Okay, Sid.
I
Greetings.
just want to find her. Surely even you can understand that.
A redhead stands by the fire, tuning her lute and plucking its strings. She hums snatches of melody as she goes. The first time at Dracogen, normally I have a song ready, but I haven't quite worked out this tune yet. I'm writing some chants about the founding of this inn. Say, you're interested in the story? I haven't finished the chants, but I could tell you about it all the same. Sure, let's have it. Oh, excellent. These rustic fables are always great fun. Let me get something to write with. It was built in the time of Hadrith's rebellion, and the Adrian Lady Thenu once had a keep here. One of the towers still stands, but the rest is said to have be buried under the village. Anyway, she stuck to the side of the Empire, and a contingent of Dukhadrith's Knights of the Crucible helped the farmers and colonists in the area turn her keep to rubble. This inn was the first building that sprang up from the ruin, built with some of the same bricks the colonists had pulled from the Lady Thanu's castle. Supposedly, the quarterstaff of her chief wizard even got lost in the construction, mortared into a wall or nailed under a floorboard. Anyway, the inn is supposed to be a haven and a meeting place while the locals built their new town. Go on. Derwoodians are an ornery lot, and the more these new neighbours met, the more they argued. They realised they didn't agree on much besides ousting the local lord. The biggest divide was over the Gilfahans and the nearby ruins. Hadrith's knights and their supporters wanted to keep the peace, but a group of misfits with more anarchic leanings that had formed in the town wanted to go after the tribes the same way they'd gone after the Lord. Soon, the villagers were fighting with each other as much as with the Adrians. In the end, memories of the Broken Stone War and the Black Trees were fresh enough that the Duke's soldiers won the day. Most of the other villagers came around eventually, but some of the core troublemakers left to join the front lines of the War of Defiance, and others, I've heard, found their way into the Guided Compass, the most forward-looking of the Gilfahan tribes. I don't know if I believe that part myself, but it makes a good story. She points at the east wall. There's a portrait of one of the chief rabble-rousers and his rivals in the peacekeeping faction. Someone's idea of joke. I don't think that they were particularly amused. Tell me about the Broken Stone War. That was the first major conflict between the original Adrian settlers and the Gilfahans. Happened 3 years into colonization when some farmers knocked over an Adra menhir that was part of the Engwithian ruin. The war didn't last long, but it spread quickly and claimed thousands. In the early weeks, most of the colonists didn't even realize there was a war going on until the Gilfahan raiders hit their village. There'd been a small spontaneous skirmishes between the colonists and the locals before, but this was organised. It was the start of decades of violence between the colonists and the Gilfahans. As you can see, Deerwood's full history, even in this little village, is like this. What about the War of the Black Trees? It started back in the colonial days, almost 30 years after the Broken Stone War. Even though isolated conflicts still broke out between the settlers and the Gilfahans, both sides had officially agreed to peace. Edrang Hadrith, Madeth's father, was Gref at the time. What's a Gref? K-I-Iffer? And G-Yo. Colonists from the prohibiting the colonists from looting the ruins. However, he'd been unable to outlaw the use of captured Galfahans as slaves. What's a Gref? A Gref is a governor of a colony and is subservient to the Emperor. The early leaders of the Adrian colony in Deerwood, including Edrang and Admeth, were Grefs. At the start of the War of Defiance, Admeth Hadreth declared himself Duke of the independent Deerwood rather than a Gref of the Emperor's colony. It was the same term used for leaders of the newly independent Villian republics. Anyway, we haven't had a Gref since, I see. Indeed, and taking the Gilfahan slaves had continued to be a source of conflict. Well, of course it fucking is. No one wants to be taken as slaves. It came to a head when the Imperial agent, aided by certain earls from Deerwood, began looting the ruins again. The Empire had never actually agreed to Hadrith's treaties on the matter, and the recent secession of the Villian republics likely left them eager to weaken Hadrith's position. Hey, good evening. Darima, how are you doing? OBS has crashed on me so many times this evening. We had at one point 40 people in here, and now we've 9. I'm not complaining. I'm just sad about the crashing. Makes me look poopy. It's all gone to shit. The looting sparked a brutal slave uprising and a guerrilla campaign amongst the Gilfahans. Edrang was too old to lead the forces into battle, so he sent his son, Admeth. Admeth made a costly but effective decision that ended the war faster than anyone could have ever imagined. He burned the forest near the Ishkain River to keep the Gilfahan war bands from retreating. Thousands of Gilfahans died, and as Admeth repeated his scorched earth tactics in the following months, he wore down the remaining of their forces. To this day, over 150 years later, there are still sections of Deerwood where the trees are nothing but bare charred trunks. Okay, done talking to you. Other person over here.
We're decent folk, my lord. Perhaps you should leave and check the wilds.
Okay. Why, it's you. Thank you, friend. You've given me another chance. I mean to make the most of it. I've been telling everyone around here how you helped me. I forgot who you were. Nanoki Faral. Oh, it's a person. You adore... A few people have said they like that I read. We're going to read a thing here. I can tell you when you showed up in the channel originally. Following since September 26th, 2025. Nanoki Faral. You see this woman running through the streets of a small city. She pushes her way through the crowd, glancing over her shoulder as she does. Her clothing is torn and her hair disheveled. Even though she appears to be attempting to escape from someone, her eyes sparkle with joy. Her mouth is pulled back in an enormous grin, and occasionally a small giggle works its way out of her throat. While looking over her shoulder, she runs headlong into a well-dressed man standing at one of the market stalls. The moment she sees the man she's run into, her face changes. Gone is the glee, replaced by fear. Her grin twists into a frown, her bottom lip quivering. The man, seeing her appearance, expresses concern for her well-being. She leans against him, weaving a tale of a brutish man with wandering hands. As she speaks, her own hands travel over his body, seeking and exploring. There is a shout from across the crowd, and they both look over to see a large, angry man approaching, roughly pushing his way through the crowd that separate them. She stiffens against him, feigning fear. The man tells her not to be afraid and steps in front of her to block the path of the figure who is coming nearer. The woman smiles, slowly backing away from them both, then lets out a gleeful cackle. Her protector turns, confused, and sees her departing, laughing and shaking a coin purse. She spins around and races off through the crowd. Confused, the man feels his belt. His face hardens and he yells, joining the chase after the laughing woman, losing herself in the crowd. That was a fun one. My bass sound, not so interesting, but when you do something else, it's very interesting. So when I get engaged, so I'm just chatting away. Most of the time I'm just talking. And then I want to read something. I'm going to put a bit of, I'm not going to read it like, okay, where's the Lord gone? Oh, another one. Okay, hold on. Dando Valero. You see a man open the door of a house, slow with fatigue. He steps inside, unlacing his boots, rubbing his temples. Wrinkle of a smile lightening his face as he moves into the generous kitchen. He calls for someone, slicing himself some bread. The house creaks gently in response. His lips purse and he pads out of the kitchen into a large room with a staircase. Chewing slowly, he takes the stairs one at a time, calling out once more. There is no response. His body freezes for a moment as he walks into the room upstairs. Nothing on the lone bed, but an abundance of faded felt toys. Moving faster, he checks each room. His calls growing more urgent. No response. Any sign of exhaustion is gone, replaced with a limber panic. He checks the cupboards, baths, anywhere a child might hide. Nothing. And then a letter, next to the door he came in from, with a queer symbol on its wax seal. One he's seen before. He crumples, shoulders shaking against the hard wall. Nobody sees him weep. Got the jibber jabber going. Okay, hold on. We're going to talk to the Lord then. Lord Harond. The man wears... we got to keep an eye on the time. 10 minutes left. He wears Adder-style clothes, robes, simple but elegant. His fine leather shoes look like they were made for padding around indoors, yet they are caked with mud. He yanks a lock of hair twined around his silk-gloved finger. His fine features are etched with anxiety.
My child is out there. Do they not understand?
A little bit Lovecraftian? Maybe.
My lord, we're doing everything we can. Unfortunately, these villagers...
Beasts take them all. I don't care how you do it, but find her.
Your child is missing. I heard you arguing with the innkeeper. Your child is missing.
Yes, Lady Alice. My daughter.
He tugs at the fingertips of his gloves.
I've asked around, but nobody in this mud hole has any concerns beyond their swine. He turned my men away like beggars and seemed downright pleased to be of no use. But you're not one of my soldiers. And you look like you're used to getting your hands dirty, if you don't mind my saying so.
We're going to get our hands dirty. My lord, a plundering. A plundering? Harond raises his hands to silence the man. If you find her, tell her I won't be upset with her. She can come back and all will be well. I just want to make sure my child, is safe. Nothing in the world is more important to me. Okay, I'd like to ask you a few more questions about your daughter.
Alice,
Elise, that's it.
Of course.
Describe Lady Elise. Tell me about her appearance. Why did you come to this town? Let's go back to my previous questions. Describe her. She's a striking young woman, bears more of a resemblance to her mother than to me. She has auburn hair and delicate, well-bred features. She must be, 28 or 29 now? Tell me about her disappearance. We stopped in Deerford for a few days. On our 4th evening here, I was making plans to continue our journey. Elise was feeling unwell and went to bed. When I retired a couple of hours later, I found that she had vanished. None of my men had seen her go, and none... You don't have to justify your definition. We're all familiar with Lovecraft as a author and a scary man who was afraid of a lot of things. Hold on. When we retired a couple of hours later, she found that she had vanished. None of my men had seen her go, and none at the inn knew where she was. Since then, my people have been combing the village, but we've yet to find a clue, and the locals have been no help. Why did you come here? It was merely a stop on the way to Ina's Rest. She took ill shortly before our arrival, so it seemed prudent to allow her a few days to recover. What's in Ina's Rest? Elise has reached the age where it is prudent for her to marry. Given this legacy business, I can't let her fertility slip by, nor do I want her womb to fester in the presence of so many Hollowborn. Ugh. It seems to be more potential suitors in New Homar or New Yarmar. Survival 5. There are better roads along the coast. Wouldn't it have been easier to follow them? Where's the rest of your family? Sure you wouldn't want to miss your daughter's betrothal. I can't say the word. Okay. Wouldn't there be more suitors in New Homar or New Yarmar? You think I haven't considered that? Arranging for a suitable match is difficult. The best prospects for my child lay in Ina's Rest. There are better roads. If I thought that, I wouldn't be slogging through the forest. The main roads were clogged with people fleeing one way or another to try and escape the legacy. It would be difficult for a caravan like mine to make the pass without incident. That's a tricky one. Let me come back to that one. So, it would be difficult for a caravan of mine to pass without incident. At the time, it seemed prudent to move quietly along the back roads. That's a tricky one. Separation of art and the artist is important. It's also when you look at things and you go, then we just can't read anything old. You know? And you can't use an IBM-based thing. And you can't, you can't do this and you can't do that. That's very blandly said. But I really like the John Carter of Mars books. Right? And Edgar Rice Burroughs was clearly trying to not be racist when he wrote them. But I find them delightfully racist. That sounds weird. It's got so many little things in it where you're like, he's trying to say, like, look how noble these, savage alien Martians are. And I'm not drawing any parallels to Earth or Earth races. It's okay. But he was writing it in 1902 or 1899 or whatever. So you can't get too hung up on it. So yeah, Lovecraft might have been extra racist for his time, or he might have been less than extra racist for his time, but it doesn't affect whether or not the book is good. And he's dead, so you're not rewarding him anyway. It's not like a situation where you're talking about a modern artist where you're like, look, you know, this person, let's just say they come out and they say something absolutely horrendous, like that everyone agrees is horrendous. When everyone agrees that a modern artist is horrendous, then you don't buy their stuff. That's it. Even if you go, they write a good story, but they themselves are so awful I can't conscience reading it, he's not that bad. Yeah, well, I mean, you can only look at the past with the lens of the present. But you also have to say, because you can only work with your own sensibilities, but you can then say, and knowing that this existed, this is how bad things were about this thing. But if you just never read it and never go, these are the good parts of it, then you can't acknowledge that the bad parts exist. You're just erasing it all. This is so like that, but this is the point. It doesn't matter because he's dead. but the present is so fucked already. I just want to read old stuff, so I'm not. Yeah, if I read old stuff, I know it's not AI generated. That's it. That's what I'm at now. What was it when they made Grok and it started calling itself Mecha Hitler? Jesus. The main roads were clogged. Where's the rest of your family? Lady Harond is ill-suited for travel, I'm afraid, and unfortunately, Alice and a few other relatives, has few other close relatives. My sister and her husband, Alice's aunts and uncles, of course, have been visiting Ada these past months. As for siblings, she has none. My wife has only given birth to Hollowborn since... Oh no. Since Alice, that is. I see. Going back to your daughter. Going back to my previous question. Tell me about yourself.
I'm Lord Nestor Harrond of Defiance Bay. My family has been prominent there since Imperial times. Our primary estate is on the outskirts of Brackenbury, but we have holdings in New Haelmar as well. Those went to my sister and her husband.
Okay.
A petty, small-minded man, just like the rest of them around here. I've been paying him an honest fee for board and bed, and yet he can't be bothered to stir himself to concern for my Alice.
He seems angry at you.
People from these backwater villages take offense for
Icon of Doom, how are you doing?
You have to but show up with a full coin purse, and they'll hear insults in the jingle of your step. They forget that Duke Hadret came from the privileged classes, as did all of the other earls and lords who financed the rebellion they're so proud of.
Sure, but you don't have to be a dick to them. This is why I'm hoping you can help. I should have never trusted these people around my child. Okay, so clearly what's happened is he is taking her off to an arranged marriage that she does not want to go to, and I don't really feel like helping him. Let's go talk to the innkeeper.
Hail, traveler!
No, we're not going to talk to the innkeeper because it is midnight and I'm going to wrap up the stream and we're going to raid someone. So we're going to leave these questions for Friday. The innkeeper digs inside a mug with a dirty rag. His eyes under his thick brows are tired but watchful. He gives you a quick nod as you approach the bar. Don't see many travelers these days. Something I can do for you. Okay. We're gonna deal with this on Friday. Save game. Runaway Bride. Runaway Bride Situation is the save title. Let's get raiding before the OBS crashes again. Because Icon of Doom, OBS has crashed like 16 times today. For no clear reason why. And I have it running in safe mode and everything just to maximize the chance of nothing going wrong. No, it's okay. There's no argument, or well, argument in the discussion sense even. We're gonna raid someone. We're gonna raid Mac, because that way I don't have to think about who I'm raiding. Is there anyone else on? Now I'm already thinking, that does not look healthy. That does not look safe. That does not look... Okay, that looks like a bad stream to raid. Nuke for Prez is up. No. Ha la 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 la. It's going to be Mac. We were going to raid Mac the other day, and I want to get the raid in before OBS crashes again. Pleasant evening to you too. Okay. Thank you, Draconic Dude, for being here. Sorry about all the crashes. I will see you all on Friday. Something just fell over on my desk. And I'm gonna do the raid straight away in case there is a crash. That's basically, we're not gonna do much. Normally I do like some chatty outro stuff. We're just gonna go straight to raid. I want you to say hi to Mac and just say, watch out for OBS gremlins or something. So, see you all on Friday. Bye. Thank you all for being here. Bye. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Raid!